2025, the year of the Stark Varg.
Welcome to a new video series about my 2025 experience with the Stark Varg. It's been a full year of riding, experimenting, learning, and yes, a big crash along the way. It is time to find out what this electric machine is really like in the real world. Hey! Is the Stark Varg battery enough for a day at the track? I choose this topic because it is the question I get asked the most at the track when I arrive here with a Stark Varg. And to be honest, the simple answer is no. The Stark Varg battery isn't enough for a full day of riding. When someone doesn't know much about Stark Varg, the next question usually is something like, okay, can you buy a spare battery? And the answer is yes, you can buy that, but it's extremely expensive. It's about 3,000 euros. And I think you have to understand it is not designed, the bike, that you start removing that. A factory team is doing that for the #1 enduro rider, but for a normal rider like me, that is not, it's not an option. Yeah? Of course, yeah, the next question comes, yeah, okay, so you cannot ride the whole day, but how long can you ride then with this battery? And to be honest, even after 1 year of riding, I find it hard to answer this question. And that's also why I took this topic for this video, so I could figure it out for myself. And also, you will see also during this video, yeah, I have one answer as a rule of thumb, but it is not the full answer. And I hope that you then understand that. Before we dive deeper into yeah, the answer that I'm going to give, we have to be a little bit more specific on what I talk about, because this is the bike that I have. Yeah, I bought that end of 2024. It's a Stark Varg MX 1.0. It has a battery of 6.5 kilowatt hours, and the charging can happen at the maximum speed of 3.3 kilowatts. What does that mean? It takes 2 hours to charge this bike. Yeah, from, let's say, starting at 0 and then getting it full again. So what I did for you in this video, just come up with a simple rule of thumb, and that says you have to take the percentage of the battery, you divide it by 2, and then you have roughly how many minutes you can ride. Yeah, so I put the formula here in the battery. So percent divided by 2 is the minutes. So if I have 100%, yeah, I have 50 minutes of riding time. Yeah, 50 minutes of riding time is not really enough. Yeah, so you have to do something else, and that else is charge during your breaks. So you need a charger, and most of the time that is a generator again. So while all the other bikes make noise on the track, my bike makes noise when I'm off the track. And let's have a look a little bit how that's going to look like. But first we start with a few assumptions here, because else it makes no sense. So I say a full battery that is represents 100%, right? And when I charge the bike at 3.3 kilowatts, yeah, from 0 to 100%, it takes 120 minutes. It's not exactly that, but let's do that assumption. If we turn that around, that means if I turn on my charger for 1 minute, I gain 0.83%, yeah, on the battery level. Yeah, assuming there's some that is somewhere in the middle. The other way around, if I ride 1 minute, I reduce 2%. Yeah, so 1 minute of riding is, let's say, 2.5 minutes of charging. That is the, yeah, you could say how that is in balance, so to say. The other thing that I sort of assume is that the battery is linear over its full range. And that is not entirely true, because if you're charging and then closer to the 100%, it's going to charge slower. It starts at, let's say, 95%. With draining, it's a little bit the opposite. When you come closer to the 0%, the battery loses its energy a little bit faster than normal. The other thing that also is built into the Stark is a feature that below 11%, the bike gradually starts turning down the horsepower, so to say. And for me, practically, what does it mean? Around 3%, you really feel that you need to get off the track because you do not have enough power to drive in a normal pace anymore. Yeah, so you can drive, let's say, up to 3% of the battery. Yeah, but then you cannot ride it normal anymore, only just drive off the track, so to say. This time is the second time to drive with the Stark. So, wrap up of the day. I have to say the battery goes down very fast. So you have to every time charge it when you stop. So you have to consider that. Ooh. Ooh, 1%. 1%. So, this battery is dead. The battery of the Stark is dead. It's the end of the day. I really had fun. This is a chart that I created with two different riding and charging schedules, so to say. And that is then for riding at my local track MC Rilland. And at MC Rilland, we start riding at 1 o'clock. And we stop riding at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's only from 1 to 4. That's not in every track like that. So, another Sunday. Really have to get balance in the battery usage. It is really something. You really have to not drive too long and make sure that you have your sessions planned out. So now, and let's say the last session, just ride to 1%. So in this particular schedule, I start at 1 o'clock. That's then my first ride. And my first ride is not long. That's only 13 minutes. And then when I come back, I start charging the bike for 20 minutes. After that I charged it, I go for my second ride, 20 minutes. And when I come back, I charge it again, 20 minutes. Then I go my third ride, 20 minutes, charge again, 20 minutes. And then my last ride at the end of the day, 20 minutes. And then you see the end percentage of the battery is 4%. So that is a nice time to go off the track. And it's about, let's say, 3:45. So it's about the end of the day at MC Rilland. I was thinking if you want to do a few longer motos than 20 minutes, I came up with the schedule below. What I did over there is, again, a warm-up round 13 minutes and then a longer drive 25, a longer drive of 25, but then there is not enough time to charge your battery enough or to ride, and then so the last ride is again 13 minutes.
It was exactly timed. Battery 0 and we had to stop.
Yeah, and realize if you ride only 1 minute more, then it is 2.5 minutes more charging again. Huh?
26th of June. And we're in Utrecht. The battery went also well. I was a little bit anxious that maybe during class my battery would not last enough with the Stark. But I only drained it to 45%. And every time I turn on the generator in between during the breaks. And that was enough.
The time from the track or going off the track and to putting it on the charger, I took that pretty critical. If you look at it carefully, what I did was I only took 5 minutes for getting off the track, putting it on the charger, and the opposite, getting it off the charger and back to riding again.
And put it on the charger again. And here we go. So we keep it charging until we start driving. Yeah? You should not forget this one. There's something to forget. To be honest. Okay, let's do it. Oh, right now, great. There we go.
I also created a ride charge schedule for 5 rides, where you are at a track that is open until 5 o'clock, start with a short ride, and the rest all 20-minute rides. Small note here is that last year I did not have these schedules. I just created these schedules. I simply road charge, and over time you develop sort of a feel of how long you can ride and how long you need to charge. You do have to pay attention if you buy a Stark. Yeah, you really need time to load this bike when you're driving. So you have to sort of plan that ahead. I think if you're a top rider, it could be a fun bike only, but not really for riding a long moto, because do not think, oh, I'm going to do 3 sessions of half an hour or more. That's not possible. I don't think so. Yeah. But yeah, if you're new to riding a Stark Varg, maybe it helps you to use these schedules. Here we go. Yeah. Charge, right. Yeah, does that create battery stress? Yes, it does. Yeah. I think if you maybe ride a new bike and somebody's interested, when he looks at your bike and you say, oh, maybe you want to drive it one time. If you do that with the Stark, I think you have to suggest that you swap bikes and that you agree that you do not drive more than 20 minutes. Else, yeah, your whole schedule will go off and yeah, you are going to miss a ride. Yeah, so yes, a Stark provides battery stress. Then another thing that got my attention already, let's say halfway the year, that yeah, riding the Stark, I think I make shorter session times. If I looked at some data of 224, and I did 20-minute motos, I did 30-minute motos, I even did somewhere in the 45-minute motos. But I don't think I did such long rides with the Stark Varg. And I think from the sketches that I just show you, that must be the case, right? Because else you cannot do many rides. So what I did was, from the 34 rides that I did at my home track, I made an histogram. You can see that over here. And if you look carefully, then yeah, let's say on this side of the chart, you see that in the range of 10 minutes to 16 minutes, that were my most rides. So even the 20-minute rides that I indicated in the schedule, I mostly did not do. Yeah, I did do a few. I even did a few more than 25 minutes, but most of them were in the 10-minute, 16-minute range. Yeah, you might ask me, yeah, it's all nice what you come up with, Christian, these numbers in this video, but where does it come from? Now, let me show you. I collected all the data from the Stark Varg phone. On the phone, you have stats, and you can see that over there. And under stats, we can go to rides, where we see each of the rides. We can select a ride, and you see on top, we can get the date, also the time that I started this ride. So you have an idea which session it is most of the time. It gives you the total time and the percentage usage. However, I decided for, let's say, 90% of my data collection, I was using the curve here below, the battery level curve, because in this curve, you can also see if you are standing still for a minute or something, you can get that out of your total time. So you have a better estimate, I think, of the battery usage in your ride. There is, however, a strange situation that sometimes the curve and the number that we have here on top, they are not completely correct. To be honest, I do not know what to believe more, the curve or the number sometimes. All the information from the telephone I put in a big Excel sheet, and then I started analyzing the data. And that is how I created the numbers in this video.
Today we're at a different track. I've never been to this track. MCC Holland, that's in Gouda. End of the day. We drive here in sessions. I think I didn't need to bring the loader, to be honest. I could do with one battery load, I think. So today I'm going to drive at a totally different track. This is called Motor Club de Bougie. And a nice thing is they have electricity here, so I get free charge here of the Stark, so that's nice. Thank you very much for that.
Let us dive a little bit deeper into the consumption of the battery, because the battery usage, yeah, that is influenced by several factors. The number one, for instance, could be the rider weight. the rider skill, the maximum horsepower that I set the bike in, the engine brake, and the type of track, the track condition, and maybe temperature. Yeah, we're going to look more closer to these points to see how that is influenced.